Guys, welcome back in this process of learning the core internal details of programming language, and you guys know we are into the track of Python, right? So, tons of things, guys, we have discussed about the Python and multiple basic concept, and focus area was more on the right concepts, right? So plus some lot of advanced topic of Python also we discussed, but today's class is very important, and it is not only for the Python, because there would be lots of programming language in the market, maybe Java or maybe Scala or maybe Dart or Go and some other languages also, right? So the concept that I'm going to touch today and the concept that I'm going to explain you today guys, format please. The concept that I'm going to explain you today is more a core concept of mostly the programming language. And when you develop the app, or when you develop any software, or you develop your program, this is the very common thing we always do, especially in the terms of code management, right? Because I told you multiple time, even though there's was one topic where where I explain you the use of function, I explain you the use of method, and I told you that time why we create a method, or maybe method actually, why we create a module. Okay, so oral motto, to create a module or to create a function is to manage the code. But when a code become very much complex, and in your program, in your software, there would be a lot of functionality come up. Okay, so again we require some more way to manage a similar functionality, and we have to put those similar functionality in one box. Okay, maybe we can put the similar function in the module, but in the module maybe there might be lots of functions or variables, okay, that you want to put in one single box. Okay, then because all the functions and maybe variables is serving a common thing for us and a related thing for us. Okay, so technically here again I'm talking about the management of the code. So if you have a smaller code, limit things to do, a smaller program, so we don't have to do much in the terms of management of the code. But if I'm talking about the bigger one, a bigger program or bigger apps, then very critical for a developer to think for the management. And one of the approach that is very much useful in the terms of code management is object oriented programming. So it is one concept. Okay, and I believe you guys are very new in this world of object oriented programming. So because there will be a lot of vocabulary come up. One is classes, one is objects, one is instances, one is inheritance, polymorphism, maybe overriding, overloading. So lots of things there rated in this subject, but I'll try my best to actually give the meaning of these terms, and by the end of today's class you guys come to know why it is known as object oriented program. But the overall reason to go for object oriented program is to just manage the thing. Even though if you don't use object oriented programming, until date guys, you see multiple things we have done, multiple code you guys may be working on, or maybe I've explained you multiple different projects maybe. Okay, so everything's working fine. So it is not like this because we don't know classes or we don't know object oriented program is called ops. So we stuck somewhere. So programming perspective, use case perspective, what are the challenges you want to solve, everything can be done without object oriented programming, known as ops. Okay, but it's not about to solve certain use cases or or to solve a certain problem. It is about when you want to because it is guys, it is always known as a great code, right? Always known as great code if your code is so simple in the terms of understand. Okay, and if you want to make your code simple, right, and obviously you, if you're working on a bigger complex problem or use cases, obviously your code never be simple, it will be always complex, but it is our way. And it is the beauty of the programmer who write a code, who can plan or create a proper strategy, okay, in the terms of management. This looks your code more readable and more simple. Okay, so my point, guys, over here is right. Oops is a one of the way or one of the great way that through which we can properly plan, create a proper strategy that give us a proper way or proper framework to manage our code. So anybody who read our code, okay, they understand what actually we are doing, we actually what we supposed to do, and it is the way actually to the way we use in our daily lives as a human being. These are very common thing or common logics, okay, that we manage our real lives also, right? So something like this we are going to discuss. Okay, plus when your code, your program, your projects become become more and more complex, means more and more features come in your website, in your app, in your mobile apps. Okay, so it is always up to the developer up to the developer how clearly they manage the thing, or how well I can say they manage the things. And the better they manage the things, or they manage the things very proper way, so we can increase the things, multiple new features we can add very simply, very easily. So that's called scalability. So if you want to scale your code, add more feature, it's again very most of the time, guys, is purely depend upon how well you manage the thing. So to make the thing simple, manageable, scalable, or whatever you guys understood in the terms of management world of the code, object-oriented programming gonna help you. But again, I'm repeating, guys, without having this knowledge also, whatever the apps you want to develop, okay, anything and everything can be done. It is just approach of, or one of the approach of managing your idea, your functions, your algorithm in the code, in the program. Okay, but I believe, guys, guys are very new in object-oriented programming. So what I mean by management, all the things we will discuss again one more time before we conclude the today class. But before this, let me again let me start the things from what is object-oriented programming and why we need OPS. By the end of the, I will relate this concept again one more time. You can very easily relate. Okay, so guys, let's start the today's topic called object-oriented programming. Okay, but guys, according to my knowledge, maybe a lot of guys might know this term OPS, or they might know some of the vocabulary of this topic. But I've seen as a feedback from multiple technical folks also, sometimes OPS looks very much complex. It's very harder to to understand the link, why these terms we have and how the things related. Okay, so guys, I can give the guarantee again. Okay, in half an hour, the way I'm going to explain you OPS concept, just in half an hour, maximum in 1 hour, okay, you will actually know the concepts of the OPS and why we have this kind of terms and terminology. Okay, just what are the example, guys, I'm giving you. Just try to understand this example and try to link this example with the real analogy that I'm going to use. And I can give the guarantee, maybe construct, maybe objects, or maybe inheritance, or any of the concept related to OPS you will understand. But very important topic. Okay, and mostly we use OPS in most of the application. Okay, so you can, guys, think in this way. Let's take one example. Okay, let's say there's one office, one company. Okay, and in the company, in the office, guys, when you for example, you as a one person, okay, and let's say your name would be XYZ. Let's say your name is Jack. and you enter this office premises. Normally guys, we always go to the reception of the office, and there will be some admin guys at the reception. Okay, so whenever you reach this office, I can say whenever you visit this office, and for this office, you is normally known as the visitors. So some of the admin over there, or maybe receptionist over there, they feel there's one new visitor, or maybe they know already about this visitor. Maybe that guy is working over there, but they said some visitor visit that particular office and the reception. Okay, and let's think in this way. You are the person, the first time you are visiting this office. Okay, so what they do normally, what they do normally. Okay, normally in the company they have some pre-planned form. Okay, and that is typically known as visitor form. So they give this visitor form to you. Okay, and if you notice guys, whenever you go to any institute or colleges and universities or companies and XYZ, this kind of places, so they have a pre-planned visitor form. When I say pre-planned, there's a meaning for this. But if you see, this visitor form is normally empty, obviously. And why is empty? Because they don't know. They don't know about you, right? Obviously. Okay, but they know something that they wanted to. They wanted you fill those things. For example, in this visitor form, they have pre-typed one field called name, and they give one box to you. They have pre-typed mobile number, or sorry, mobile as a field, and they give you one empty box to you. And there they want you have to fill your name, or you have to input your mobile number and something else. So there's some certain field they give you in this visitor form. Okay, but interesting thing is, this field is empty because they don't know about you. But this thing, okay, like name, mobile number, your address, or remarks, and XYZ, they have pre-planned. They pre-planned. And normally guys, if you think the receptionist or the admin who is sitting in the reception, they are not the one they are not the one who pre-planned that if any visitor come up, we will ask the name, we will ask the email ID, and we will ask the mobile number. Maybe somebody from that company or from the senior management, from the management team, they maybe planned by sitting with, let's say, A is one guy for management, B is one guy for management, C is one guy for management. So they sit together initially. Okay, initially, and they plan that any of the visitor come up. Okay, so we have to ask their name. We have to ask their mobile number, or maybe this office is, let's say this is your training institute, for example, or this office may be some kind of some kind of sales office, right, where some person visit as your client. So maybe this management team feel anybody visit at your office, at your institute, at your college, at your company, we have to also ask the email ID, so that we can send our meals, or some kind of new products come up, we will send a mail to those guys. So they plan. And again guys, this planning is very from company to company, from office to office. Every office has a different requirement. Maybe somebody don't bother you in a mobile number. So they might not interested in your mobile number. Okay, so they might interest in email, or maybe they are just some government office. Maybe they might not interested in your email address. But they say just type your name and tell me your remark and which department you want to meet. So everybody has a different thing, right? Different plan, okay, for the respective new visitor, I can say. Okay, so let's say after the management guys plan and they feel whenever the visitor come up, we will ask, let's say, 3 field name, 1 mobile, and 1 remarks. They plan this thing, and they will ask the one of the guy in the company and say, can you please create 1 visitor form for us? And the visitor form, just type in the top the visitor form, just create this box, this box, this box, and some empty box. Okay, create this form. And understand one thing guys, while somebody in from their company who create this form, okay, obviously they don't know about the visitor. So obviously the form will very much empty. Okay, but what happened, okay, why we create this form? Because because when visitor come up, or one person come up, obviously let's say Jack come up. By the time we know this name is Jack, but this Jack when reach to the reception, and the reception guys say, let's say you are the new visitor, we should know about guy who visit our company. Okay, so in the reception they have a one computer. In the computer they have printer connected. Okay, and they click on one button called print, and this form print in some hard copy, and we provide this hard copy visitor form to this person. And this person will type their name, this person will type their mobile number, this person will type, let's say, I come here because I want to purchase something from you. I come here because I want to apply job at your company. I come here I was just passing by, I just want to see what stuff you have. So everybody has a different remarks and different requirement. Accordingly they fill their requirement. Okay, similarly, and after after this form filled by this Jack, and I know guys this concept because this is a very common thing we always do in our daily life, but this concept is very much important concept if you try to really understand the concept of object oriented. And in 5 minutes you come to know this example cover all the concept of object oriented. And you'll feel it's so simple concept, why we always confuse or why we don't know this concept. And it's so related to human and the way the human being work. Okay, guys, can you hold for 1 minute please? I'm just holding for 1 minute. Okay, yeah guys, come back please. um, so and finally, after this form fill, this Jack as a person submit this form at the reception office, and they have some kind of folder, some kind of box. Okay, normally known as folder, or I can say there's some space they keep for this stuff, and they put the form there. So what the form submitted, that form they put in this particular area or this space or this folder. So they can use this form in the future whenever they want to contact to Jack, to mobile number, we want to understand why Jack come up, right? So whatever their management stuff for selling, for business, and whatever they looking for, why they look this information from the visitor, accordingly they gonna use this form from this space. Okay, now let's take one more quick example. Let's say one more user come up, or one more person, I can say visitor come up. Let's say the person name would be, let's say, is Chris. Same happen again, they come, and admin of guys click on the print button, one more form come up. But understand one thing, now this admin guys or the reception guys, they don't have to create this form again and again. This form is already created, stored in the computer as a soft copy. Maybe sometime we can also use one more term, they already has one template of this form. Or maybe I can use one word, they have one blueprint of this form, a soft copy of this form. Okay, and who planned this form? Obviously these guys, not the management of a company. They decide what field they need, accordingly they create a blueprint and the template because they require this information of the user or the visitor in the future, and they give this blueprint and template or the form in the computer, and whenever the new visitor come up, they click on the print Okay, again one more empty form come up. They provide to these Chris guys. Again they fill the information and they again submit, and again they store this form in the folder on the space. Okay, they store again. So like this, in my folder, lots of data is keep on storing in one particular space or in one particular folder. Okay, in this entire example, in the entire example, the very important point to be noticed, and there's lots of point here to be noticed. In 10 minutes I'll explain you what a point to be noticed here, but in this entire till this example, the most important point here to notice to go further this field remark. Okay, so company ask, maybe instead of remark I might use the word called purpose of visit. So why you visit this company? So this field might be the right term would be purpose of visit. Why you visit our company, our office? And accordingly, Jack say my purpose of visit is I want to buy certain item from your office. Chris visit will be I would like to apply the job. Next user visit will be you may be training organization. So they say I would like to do some training from you. So everybody has a different purpose. Okay, and now according to purpose, when this form submitted in the folder in the company, they will see the purpose. They say that Chris is a person visitor come up, and because they want to apply for the job. Okay, so now next time we will call the Chris again, or maybe Chris is sitting in the visitor area or waiting area of the company, and this form go inside the management and say because this guy has come for the job, let's do one thing, because this guy has come for the job, so but it is but obvious it is but obvious that because So guys, I think for some minute or some second my was in mute, but technically again I just repeat, I don't know how long I was in mute. If somebody, yeah, I think just now. Guys, can you hold for a second? So I believe just now. So technically, I just I like to maybe explain you one more time. So let's say one more user person come up. So your mailman guys think the mailman can think, because this is a visitor. We always ask any of the visitor, either they come for the job or they come for they want to buy something from us as a customer. Name, mobile, remarks is a very general thing we always ask to keep the information within our folder, or in, I can say, in our database. But but after they say, just say my purpose of visit, my purpose of visit, that I have come here to buy a certain item. So this management guys has created some separate form as a customer form, and here they they obviously they don't ask. There's no meaning, guys, to ask from the customer their year of experience, which university pass out, because they doesn't come to you for the job. Their purpose of visit is different. It's customer. And obviously, guys, for the customer, we might ask which item you want to buy. Can you tell me your address so we can deliver at your home, locality, GPS coordinate, XYZ, or feedback form link, something like this. We can put in this form. Okay, and but again, I have the way I explained in this job form here. As for the good user experience, I don't ask my customer like Jack here to again fill the name and the email address or mobile number. Because they already filled the visitor form, so they already put there. So it's a good user experience. What I'll do, I will connect this form to this guy. Okay, so in this case, this form will known as sub form, or I can say a child form, and the main form is known as main form, or maybe you can say as a parent form. Okay, so technically this I believe this is not the new thing for you. Don't think, guys, don't think as a programming perspective. Don't try to emphasize in your mind that we are into the OOPS class, so we have to relate this concept with OOPS. So I haven't discussed yet what is OOPS, what is classes. I haven't discussed yet. This I want to give you this picture that everybody know, and almost every week we might see this kind of thing. Okay, either you have your own office, you're working in some company, or maybe you know keep on visiting some company, institutes, colleges, and XYZ. So this is a very common thing you always see. And this is a real world kind of process. So what we do, guys, as a researchers in the technological world do, they always try to keep on changing a programming language in such a way that it's so much related to the human being or the day-to-day activity, and how humans do, or what is the process human being used in their life in day-to-day activity. So okay, this is one of the example of in this example of visitor form and all the things. This is one of the process right human being use, okay, to ask the information for somebody, and they are arranging managing the information provided by the visitor or the person in this kind of form. So similarly, guys, this is the way we work in multiple different areas. If we just talk about human being. Okay, so our researcher or the guy who create a programming languages, maybe Python or Scala or Java, they also try to create a program in such a way. So our programming language is also look very similar or very closer, closely similar to the way we human being work, we use our day-to-day activity, or we do our process. Okay, now guys, now let me relate what I'm talking about. Okay, in this example, guys, if you now try to understand in this example, the initially the management ABC here, who is doing a lot of planning here. This management team is normally, if you try to understand, is one of your developer. So maybe you are Java developer, Python developer. So here developer is one person. Let's say I am a developer, my name Vimal. So I am the developer. So I am ABC here, or maybe I work with a team, multiple developer here. They sit together as a real human being and they plan. Okay, they plan whenever any information come to our company, come to our office. And guys, here office is not office. This office is your program file, is your software, is your app. So any information come to a program file or app or software. Okay, so we developer decide how we are going to manage those information. Understand one thing, guys. Information means data. So here, guys, if you see here, here Jack is one data, mobile number is one data. So they say, or developer say, if any information come to us or data come to us, we have to first store. Here we are storing in the name field. Here we are storing the mobile field. But in the computer world, this field is not a field. In the computer world, this field is known as variables. So developers say if we want to store Jack as a string or as a name or the data, we have to create some variable. Let's say name variable. For mobile number, we have to create a variable. Let's say mov variable. So who planned the variable name? Obviously your developer plan. Okay, who plan how much information we'll ask from a user who gonna use my, who come to my office, who come to my app. The developer plan. They say I'm looking for only for name and the mobile number. So those much variable they create. Or those much input function, because you know guys, in the Python we have input function to ask certain input. So they will create two different input function and two different variable they use, like name and mobile number, to store this data. Okay, but while planning, my developer, my managers here, right, while planning, they also feel, because initially if somebody come to my app or my website or my software, initially we don't know they are the visitor of website or web app. We don't know. We don't know what is their purpose. So let's make it very simple. Let it go give great user experience. Even though if you guys notice, guys, when you create one account in Facebook or Insta or XYZ website, they never ask you a detailed form. But if you used to see some older website, in the first go when somebody visit the website, they give a very detailed form of 1 page, 2 page. So it is never a great user experience. So a lot of person or customer, by looking at this bigger form, they skip your website. Nowadays, you just type your mobile number, that's all, your form submitted. Okay, so the management guy decided, let's create a very simple form. Okay, ask very limited information, because this first time visitor, so don't ask so much information. So this, the way they plan, and after they plan, they create a form, a soft copy form or template or blueprint, but that was empty. So in this programming world, guys, this form is not known as template, is not known as a blueprint, it is not known as form, it is known as class. And guys, this is the meaning of the class. So class is a blueprint or template, and what this class contain? Some variables name, variable name, and what variable name? The guy, whatever these guys decided. So that, guys, this is the meaning of the class. But when somebody come, let's say Jack come, or this is the real person. When real person come up, we print this class. Here we print this class, or we print this form, and we provide this form to Jack. Okay, so guys, this time when you print one copy, and understand one thing, when Chris come up, we print a second copy. Obviously, guys, what are the form we print for Jack? Same form we doesn't give to Chris. Obviously, we print one more time. There's been 10 user come up, 10 times we print. Okay, here printing means, okay, it's print here. For example, here this form that we provide to the Jack, and the form that we provide to Chris. Okay, that hard copy form that we provide to Jack, where Jack filled the information, that form is known as instant or instance. So we provide a different instance or different form and hard copy form to the Jack. We provide one more hard copy form or one more instance for the Chris. So in the soft copy or template, that's empty. Okay, this is known as class, but after we print and provide to Jack, that is called instances. So 10% come up, 10 instance we we create. And the way we print, here guys, we just click in the print button, they print. But this concept of printing is known as instantiation. Instantiation. So from the class, we instantiate the instance for the jack. Or from the template or the form soft copy form, we print one hard copy form in a paper or A4 size paper for the jack. Okay, this is exactly same the way we work. But in the technological world or programming world, rather than we use the word soft copy form, we use the word class. Rather than we use the hard copy form, we use the word instance. Okay, or rather we use that one jack person come up real person, next new person come up Chris. Here every individual one is known as object. So jack would be one object for us, Chris would be one object for us, and the company say this is a unique guy. So we will give a unique form, and all this information we store in this form. So after the Chris or Jack submit the form, so we have one folder or database over we have some space, we keep on putting all the form there. Okay, and guys, this space is known as memory. Memory means RAM. So after guys this the Jack and Chris fill the form, so we put all the form in a space, and this space guys in the technological world or programming world is your memory or is your RAM. Because technically we are storing the data in the variables. Okay, and guys, by chance these variables okay, so we give this form to one object called Jack. So Jack will fill their name, their mobile number. Okay, so this variable guys, you can use the word variable, but this variable is also known as instance variable. And sometimes guys this variable is also known as attribute. So both are the same. Sometimes we use attribute word, sometimes we use a variable, or sometimes we use instance variable. Typically attribute and instance variable would be the better better word for this. Okay, because here Jack is one instance or one object, he fill their information. Chris one object, one instance, he will fill their information. So this is no instance variable or the attribute here. Okay, and now because these guys fill their remarks. So Jack say I come here for job apply. So management team has planned a separate form for the job. Okay, but in this separate form they don't fill the name and mobile number again. Okay, they don't fill this information again, because the plan is this form and this form they finally want to attach together. Okay, so if in the future if you want to know the experience of the Jack, we will pick from here. University of name of the Jack, we will pick from here. And if you want to looking for the mobile number of Jack, we will pick from this form. Rather than we create a separate form, or rather we take extra space from the RAM to manage the RAM. So because we have to manage the storage also, or I can not storage, manage the space also from the RAM. So rather we store mobile number or name again and again. We pick the name and mobile number from from this visitor form, and remaining information from job form. So this form is called sub form or child form or parent form or the main form. But this the way if you talk about this particular form, okay, this form is actually derived from main form or this form is actually attached to the main form. Okay, and this form know the name and the mobile number because from the main form. We don't know in this form, but they can retrieve from the main form. This concept is called inheritance. So my child form, or here guys, this because this form and form guys here actually known as class. So this is actually called child class. This is called parent class. So child class guys will inherit the variables or the attributes or the instance variable from the parent class. And by chance this parent class has lots of child. So this child is known as job child, this child is known as customer child class. Okay, so from one child, one parent, obviously they can have multiple childs. There might be possibility If anybody apply for the job, initially we ask for very limited information. Okay, but here job will be in the multiple area. So you're looking for the job as accountant, you're looking for the job as technician, you're looking for the job as software engineer. So they write here we are interested in this domain. And then according to my management guys or my HR department or HRD department of my company, they plan more form per department. For account department, they have different separate of information what they're looking for. Technical, they're looking for which technology you know, what certificates you have, what domain experience you have. Okay, so some more form they have. But in this form, they again don't ask the university name or the experience, because they already collected. In this form, they don't again ask the name and the mobile number. They already collected. So what they do again, they inherit from this form. Again, they copy from this form. They get the information from this form. So again, this is a child form, but you guys know here the form is known as class. So this child class. But in this case, for this child, this guy is a parent. And for this child, this guy is a. So one complete tree you can think is being created. So is a parent class, then this is a child. And again, because this from this child, this guy's other form also getting the information. So in this case, this is again would be parent and this guy would be child. Or likewise, you can create more. It's all upon the hierarchy of the company, how you want to manage the things. It is not at all related to Java, or it is not at all related to Python. It is purely based upon your management. That's what guys I'm talking about. So how you are managing your information, your data. Okay, so it's just the game of this point, right? And because of your bigger software, bigger application, complex application means lots of kind of different information come in your app, in your website, in your program. So if you want to properly manage it, okay, so having the proper hierarchy, having the proper structure, I can say, of the information or the form or the class is the same thing. But technically, obviously, it's not a class. This is my way of explaining a thing with the example of form, but technically, it is known as class. So it is it is not at all related to Java or Scala or the Python. Okay, so this is actual process for managing the information. But this concept is same in the Java or in the Python or maybe in Swift or C++ or Java or Python, whatever language you use. So most of the language guys has this support to properly arrange your information. Okay, and in this support guys, the main thing here is obviously these person. So in this approach guys, we treat every person a unique person. So Chris is unique for us. They have a different information. Jake is identified by different information. This guy come for job. This guy come for recruitment. This guy come for the training. Everybody come, or everybody want to provide, or from everybody we want to get with different information. Okay, so technically, obviously, if they don't come, there is no meaning to create the form. So here guys, we are trying to arrange our information with respect to objects. and because right now we are arranging, we're getting the information, we're creating this complete structure, I can say, with the programming language. Okay, so in the programming language, the way you are going to arrange the information, you're putting the information in the memory. Okay, and way you create the structure, and this structure is purely based on object. That is reason guys, it is known as object oriented programming. So a program will be purely oriented with the object. So we treat everybody as one object. Okay, it may be person, it may be some technological name, it may be some data you are searching for. Everything depend upon purpose to purpose. In this example, the person or the visitor are the object for us. Okay, object means if a visitor come up, so every person is a visitor for us, but that particular name, Jack or Chris or Eric or Sarah, they would be unique objects. And every object, guys, we will give separate space on that app. So let's say when Jack come up, we say Jack, we give a separate space in our folder, in our in our RAM or in our space, and your form will be stored separately. Nobody can interfere with the form. If a Chris come up, your form will be stored separately. So anybody who in the future, my management team or my developer want to look at your information, they have to just go inside your form. So we'll create a separate box where I keep your information. We get a separate box where I store Chris information. It is also got good thing if you think in this way. It is a one good way to secure the thing. So we have an isolated, independent space for Jack, isolated, independent space for the Chris. And guys, when you think about isolation, it is always give a great security. So it will also, guys, somehow intentionally or unintentionally give you extra security also, plus managing your RAM and memory also. Okay, something like this. So unintentionally also, you guys achieve lots of things by this approach. One of the things is isolation, or I can say the security. Okay, but this is the complete structure or one of the great example to understand what is object-oriented programming. There might be a lot of small more vocabulary called constructor, deconstructor, overloading, overriding. So that's a small topic. While doing the program, I will explain you those concepts. But the minimum, the important concept is instantiation, classes, and inheritance. So these are the important concept. Okay, and the most important thing is not the word. You guys know inheritance vocabulary, or you know class as a vocabulary, or you don't know, that's very much okay. The most important thing is you should know the purpose, why we are doing this, why we want this kind of structure. Okay, the only purpose, even though, guys, without creating this kind of structure, we can create a multiple variables. One variable called name Jack, mobile Jack, and where the Jack store the mobile number. One variable called name Chris, mobile Chris will store the information. So without this structure also, we can also create a program, a software app. Nothing technical. But you will see, guys, when you have thousands of customers, thousands of visitors, thousands of objects come up, it will be very harder to manage the thing. But this approach, guys, and everybody in the real life also use this approach to manage the customer or the visitor or their information. So it's purely, that's what I'm, guys, trying to explain you when I started today's class. It is purely managing the information or managing your code, not technical code, because code you have to write only once. But it's purely the managing the information that is provided to the code, and we can separate those information per object wise. That's called object-oriented programming. Okay, so, guys, now you can apply this this concept in all the languages. Almost all the major language, guys, support ops approach. So if you go to Java, C++, or XYZ, this concept is exactly the same. Syntax of writing the code might be different. But learning the syntax, guys, won't take a lot of time, right? Just one day or maybe some hour, you can very easily understood the concept. Okay, so it's not big deal, but logic is very important to know. That's what I am trying to invest my time here. So let's go, guys. Let me launch the Jupyter notebook, and let's see how we write the program. Okay. So what I'm doing here, let me try to create a similar kind of structure. So let me clean this diagram a little bit. And let's say my management team, means I'm a developer, we plan to create a main form, or called parent form, or I can say is a visitor form. Okay, and initially we create a one soft copy of the form. And in this soft copy, What we are doing right now, nothing. Let me start from very basics. I just doing one small thing, because my plan is to create this form as a visitor form. But guys, now when I use the word form, it is a normal word human being use, but I mean to say class. So let's go guys, create a visitor class or visitor form. Okay, let me do this. And what this form will do, nothing special. Let's say I want in this form, I just do one small thing. For example, let's store some name. Let's store some name, or maybe let's store with some name. We'll do some change here in a minute, but let's store this name. Some name means this create one attribute here, name, and we give some boxes. So it's like this is an empty form. I'm creating empty form is a soft copy form we are creating here. Okay, so how we can create? Simple. This class is one keyword. This is the first time we are looking for we are seeing this keyword here called class, and here you can give a class any name. Okay, so I'm just giving visitor name, or maybe I can give let's say IIEC visitor. Okay, so this is my class name. So let's say IIEC is one community. If anybody visit this community, so what we will do, we'll ask the name of those guys. Or let me fix one thing. So my name is a one variable. Okay, one variable, and what I'm doing here, I'm just giving my company name IIS, or community name called IIS. So there's no meaning for this, but I just want to show you that there's no error come up and everything will be created. So finally guys, class has been created. Okay, or I can say or let me do in this way. Okay, normally whenever you create a form, right, normally in the form in the top you type some title. What is the form all about? You put your company name, or maybe you put here this is a widget form, something like this. So let's think in this way. Let me put one title here. just a variable name, you can give anything, or let's say this is IIC visitor form. Nothing is special here. So this form is nothing, is a plain empty page like this, or it typed with some string or some title. But the name of this form is, or class is visitor. Okay, but this till here guys, this is just a template or blueprint or a soft copy thing as a form perspective. Okay, but now whenever any real visitor come up, let's say Jack come up, and Jack visit your company, so your reception guys will print this form for you and give this form to the Jack. Okay, and this become then the hard copy. But this hard copy where Jack gonna use for their purpose, and Jack is the object for their purpose. So this hard copy is known as instance. Okay, so how to get the instance is pretty simple. So we will use this class. Okay, so one more, I just done a small mistake here. We don't give the parentheses in the class. Okay, parentheses guys we normally use when we want to call something. Okay guys, this concept I already explained in my function class. So whenever I want to call something and that something will do something for you, then we use parentheses. So technically I want to say here in the class we don't use parentheses. Okay, there's no error come up, but that was the wrong thing. Okay, so now if you want to use this template, okay, means you want to create a hard copy print, you have to call this class, and this is the way we call the class. Okay, but this class guys we this class we are printing for the Jack object, or from this class you want to create an instance for the Jack. From the class then to create the instance, from the soft copy we want to create the hard copy. This concept is called instantiation. and this part is known as instance. And guys, because we are doing everything in the programming world, what this instance contain? This instance contains the jack informs. So technically this instance would be one kind of variable. You can give a variable any name, but it's good practice. It's good practice. Always try to give a variable name, the name of your object. So my name of object is Jack. Okay, so it is good practice to give variable name, the name of your object. Okay, now when I run this, so in this case, guys, this example is example known as instance CSR. Okay, and where whatever the spelling would be, where Jack is one instant for us or instance for us, or maybe I can use Jack is one of the object for us, or I can use the one word called instance for us. Same thing. Okay, and this is from the class. But if you ask Jack instance or this hard copy form, if you ask the hard copy form, what is there in the form? So technically, if you look in the form, this form is purely blank screen, only one line printed. So Jack can see only one line print. And how they can see? Jack can see this. So Jack say, I'll go inside this form and I can see only one variable. Even though guys, after dot, I use auto completion. 2 times I use tab. Okay, automatic. Only one thing come up because we put only one thing. So this is the hard copy, and Jack want to see what is there in this hard copy. They see only one parameter or one variable created. Okay, and the value of this parameter is this one. Even though let's say one more guy come in my company, let's say this guy is Chris, and if they visit your company or office, and again they want to, your office guys will give this form. Again, this has been print out. So guys, you can think this is like a one printout we have done. Again, this guys see dot, right? And dot is a separator. So Chris is the object. After dot, what the form support, what we have the form. If you want to retrieve or you want to use, after dot you have to write. Again, they can only see title. So both the guys can see nothing is there. Only I can see the title or some of the variable. It's just a variable name. You can use any variable. Only that thing they can see. Okay. So technically, if your code perspective thing is working great, there is no error come up. But in the real world perspective, this form is has no use. Obviously, guys, if some visitor come up, like Jack come to a company, they and you want to give a form, the form should have something something to do. Okay, and that something would be at word of wish is something would be this form will ask Jack, can you give your name? Or this form will ask Jack, can you give your phone number? Something like this. Okay, so for this, what can we do? Multiple approach we have. So in the form, we have to type a variable name. Okay, but right now, guys, if you just using Jack and try to type what we have in the name variable. And if you see, guys, I haven't created any variable with known as name. Okay, some error come up, and what this error say? In this form, there is no variable with the name called name. And guys, I told you normally in this world the variable is also known as attribute. So same kind of error come up. There is no attribute right for the object from this class. And if you try to put some data in this object, let's say mine is Jack XYZ. Okay, this is the great thing about the Python. Okay, so technically what happened in this form, we don't have a name field, but if I use this syntax, and now what happened now in the future, if you want that we have a form of Jack, okay, means we have a hard copy for the Jack. This is the Jack hard copy in the paper. this is the paper or the form for the jack that we provided to the jack. Initially, initially this form was empty. Okay, means this paper was empty, and name of this paper is jack actually, because the paper form is what, instance. So name of the instance what we had given jack, and they were empty. There was nothing there. There's no name. I told you last time they gave the error. But now if we again guys go to jack form, you to give the name of your form, hardware form, or name of your instance or the object. Then you can type name. You can see this name come up. So this is kind of dynamic kind of thing. Okay, it's not good practice actually, but Python has given this approach. It means if I give this empty form to a jack, so jack can type from their own pen or pencil and say name is a one field. I'm typing, literally he's typing, and he's typing his name. He can type my mobile number is phone, and I'm typing my mobile number. So dynamically jack can type in this hard paper. Let me type one more time. So jack say I would like to put my mobile number. Right now there is no attribute available, because in this form this attribute was not there, but jack say let me put my mobile number 12345. There's no error come up, and now if you see jack dot tab, 2 times tab, you can see these 3 fields come up. So the auto guys completion that is working in your Jupyter or some kind of IDE. So these 3 field jack support or jack form has. And now if you want to read the phone number jack, you can read it. But we have one more person, one more instance, one more object that we already provided a form called Chris. So if you go to Chris and if you type tap 2 times or 1 time, you can see only 1 field available, because this field actually come from a form, the guy who created this form. But this guy doesn't create any field. Or even though guys you can use dir command also. See Chris, can you show me some detail about you? So there's some kind of internal variables we'll see, and this about this variable in some of the classes, but they have one attribute. But if you see the dir command of jack, so they have 3 fields or 3 attributes that contain some information. Okay, interesting thing is this 2 field is being typed. This 2 field is being typed or added by the object jack. Same thing Chris can also do. But the person that I created, right, they can also do. They can say my I want to also create my variable called name. Here I just say Chris, the ABC. Chris, I also want to store my mobile number, mob, and let's say my mobile number is this one. Now you can use dir command and see Chris how many objects in your object or in your paper, how many fields we have. Now we can see there's again 3 field come. Okay, can you hold for a second please? So this is a good thing. If you see in somehow everybody object new person come up, we just give a blank paper. So when jack come up, we give blank paper to jack. Chris object come up or Chris person come up, individual person come up, we give the blank paper. Everybody type their things. So, and that's also been stored. But guys, if you think again as a management perspective, okay, we have a challenge. Maybe my management are looking for the email address of the jack. But maybe after jack instance create, they don't fill any information about the email. If you guys see here, there's no email field we have created. These guys created. Or if there's one more thing here, jack stored their mobile number in a variable called phone variable. And Chris stored the same thing, but the variable name is different, mob. The same thing they store. And other guys might use the mobile, or other guys might use FP, other guys might use M. So every user gonna use different fields. And obviously guys, in every form we have different field, because right now this field is like a variable. So the jack form, the variable name is form, phone, sorry, in the Chris form, the variable name is mob. Okay, so in the future, if you want to if you want to 1 minute guys. In the future, if you want to retrieve this information, so we will first go to jack form like this way and see what kind of keyword or variable name they use. Accordingly, we write in some kind of print keyword. But in this way, guys, creating the for loop would be very hard. Okay, so if I want everybody use a mobile number, I want to use and print, but everybody has used their own variable name. So we want to again create some standardization, right? I want to create some standard. Standard means everybody will use phone as a variable name. Everybody use email as a variable name. Okay, and that is a reason. That is a reason. There's a lot of things we normally do, but that is the reason, guys. While creating the form or my initial initial template, we defined here name let's say empty, because we don't know the name. Or let's say phone empty, we don't know the form. Okay, so normally we create the form or they create this class with this kind of empty. Now when jack instance create, this time when jack type dot, then this 3 field come up, and maybe there's some way we can write some document or some extra readme file or extra doc string where we come to know this field is for what, this field is for what, and this field for what. And technically, logically, none of the actual user come up here. You are the developer, you have to use this variable in your code. But to make your code very standardized, okay, that's what, guys, the way I started explaining you. So my management team, ABC, or the developers, XJ managers, they decide which old field they want to use. Accordingly, they create this variable here. Or some of the field information they already fill because they might know, like say IIC visitor form, and some of the information they don't know, so they put empty here. So whenever my visitor come up, they will fill and say Jack, my name is Jack XY, your full name, whatever you want to ask this guys. Okay, so that's how it works. Now, so why you guys you're filling these information? Because I want to retrieve this information from the jack. And after retrieve, what you do? You store it. But after store, what you do? Obviously, after we store, we will keep in our folder, we keep in our space, we will keep our this information in our separate area. Or I can say after we store this information in our space on the RAM, we will use this information. So my management team will come in the future and say, I'm looking for the mobile number of the jack. I'm looking for all the mobile number of all the visitors. Okay, so that we can connect or contact these guys. Okay, so this is the normal thing we do, right? So what I want here, finally, I want one more please. I want after we store this information in a form. Okay, form means in an instance. So this is the instance, or you can think as a hard copy form for the jack person. And what jack person is stored in this form? They store their name, email address. They store here. Okay, but this form where they store? Technically, this form is stored in space. This is called RAM. So technically, this form is stored in one of the separate area of the RAM, and this area is only for the jack. Similarly, there is one more area in the RAM. This is only for the Chris. So this is the instance and the area for the Chris. Again, the Chris is stored their information. But why are we keeping this information separate? Because of security. This is a different point. We are not discussing security here. But why we are storing this information? So that in the future, my management go to this form and ask the email or retrieve the email of Jack. They go here, they retrieve the email of the Chris so that they can use it. Okay, so this retrieving is also sometimes known as get. Obviously, either you can use the word get or retrieve. Okay, so for get, we would like to give some extra functionality to the management team. We can ask them that if you want to retrieve the information jack, then you type jack and you can use the variable name. You can retrieve it. You can use the Chris. You can go to Chris form. Okay, and if you want to retrieve the email and name, just type their property, or I can say the attribute name. You can get the name. Okay, you can do in this way, but because guys, there will be no 2 or 3 variables, there will be a lot of variables, or there might be requirement and in one single go management want to retrieve multiple things for you. For example, they want to retrieve, hey, this is the name of the Crips with this mobile number. Okay, so maybe some more thing they want to do. So we would like to provide a management guys a certain functionality or certain feature. Okay, and the feature is, if you want to retrieve something from this form of the hard copy form from the RAM space of the jack, you can retrieve it. And for this, I am giving you set extra facility, or I can say functionality. And guys, when you want to do some functionality in the programming world, you have to create a function. So that's what guys I am doing here. So while creating a class or the template or blueprint, okay, we can also type here some functionality. And my functionality here is, let's say I would like to retrieve or get the name. You can give any name. This is just a function. But the functionality, what this function will do, they will do something for you. Let's say I just want to print something. But what I want to print something, name. Or maybe on the name, I also want to print email. Or maybe there might be possibility in the future when I show you how to use the database. So right now this information guys, I'm just storing in a variable in my RAM, but maybe in the future we store this information in my database, or maybe in the file. You guys know how to store in the file. So this function duty is to go to database and retrieve the name from there. Right now this is pretty simple, print function, because print know how to get the value from the RAM. Okay, but if the value is there in the database, we have to write some more code here that know how to go to database and get the things from there. Okay, so right now this look like so simple. It might be look like why we are creating this function, but finally this function is printing the name when we call this function. Okay, but don't think this way. Think this way, this variable name is not there or not here in the normal variable. It is there stored in the when you guys using this or storing this, that time some functionality we add that stored the thing in the database, and when we want to get or retrieve, we are getting from the database. So maybe multiple tons of code we have to write here. But finally this code is giving one functionality to my developer, to my managers. Okay, this function or functionality will give them a way or them a method that will go and retrieve the name. Okay, maybe I can do it. Name is something. So I'm just a string I'm putting here and then comma. Okay, and that is the reason, guys. If you create a function inside a class, okay, this is exactly way we create a function actually always. But if you create a function inside a class, there is a use of the function, right? We always want, especially in this area, we always create a function that will do something for us. Then we provide some method to retrieve some name, store some name, retrieve phone number, do something, send a SMS to this mobile number. Maybe a requirement come up, we want to send a SMS to the jack. So for this, again, we create a function and say send SMS function. what they do, we write some code here. This code will contact to retrieve the mobile number of the jack, and they send the SMS. Send SMS. Okay, for this we have to write some lines of code here. They will do for something. So in the future, if my developer want that we have a jack, and I just want to do something, I want to use some method, that method or that function will send SMS to the jack. So while creating function, while creating the class or template, intention of creating the class is to store or manage the information. But why we are managing the information, right? So that on the top of the information we can do something. We can get the name in the future, get the mobile number, search the mobile number, or send the SMS. So technically, what is class? Class is one box or container. They contain lots of variables and lot of functions. But guys, here in this class world, variable is normally known as attribute. So I can use the word variable or maybe attribute. I told you already. Or maybe instance variable. This is not instance variable. There is one more kind of variable we have. It's called class variable. I will explain it, but it is known as variable. Okay. And here in the class, if you write a function, so this function is normally known as method. So maybe you can use word class function. There's the same thing. So when I use method or function, there's no difference technically. But when you create a method, when you create a function inside a class, in that context, function is always known as method. But if you want to use the word function, that is very much okay. Okay. Now, let me type here send SMS to this phone number. The phone number is a variable. I'm just printing here, but otherwise if we know how to send the message. So guys, in my initial classes of the Python, I ask you this question to everyone to find a method through which we can send the SMS or WhatsApp or email. I think you guys have found those. So those code you can put here. Okay. Now this function has been created. Now what happened? Now let's say one user come up in my company. Let's say Eric. And we give this form to the Eric. Not the form. Actually, we print out. So there's one printout created and one hard copy print created. So this copy is called instant or object. Now we ask Eric, okay, Eric, I want to send SMS to you. Okay. So as you give this form to Eric, you guys, it is something like this. It is something like this. We give one hard copy form to the Jack, right? And Eric, and till now Eric doesn't feel anything. But behind the scene, my management says, or my developer say, just send SMS to Eric. So what happened if they do so? Obviously they fail. They fail. And why they fail? Because you are asking for this object to run this function. And by chance in this function, we have a phone as a variable, and till now my phone variable don't have any value. Obviously it's fail. Okay, but technically guys, this error is fail not because of actually this issue. Because right now guys, even though my Eric doesn't provide any phone number, by default value of my phone number is actually null. So technically, as a programming perspective, there would be no error come up. My output should come send SMS to null. So there would be there shouldn't be any error come up. So they might print in this way. If you talk about this example, but here they give error. And this error is because of other reason. And guys, this reason is very important because normally other language handle this error behind the scene. So if for example, if you use any other language like Dart is one language by Google if we use for mobile app development like Android or iPhone. So they handle this issue. What kind of error come up here behind the scene. But in the Python, we have to handle this error by something. But let me guys explain you what is the meaning of this error. This error say you are calling this function or method from this box or template Okay, and you was given one argument and zero available. So technically, what I mean by that, what is the meaning of this line? So guys, I believe everyone know functions in the Python because we discussed already functions already. So whenever you guys call a function, call a function, okay, this function will call and they run the code. Okay, but by chance, what this error says, this error say in this function you are sending some data, and you guys know whenever you set any data in the function, they are known as argument. I know we haven't sending anything, it's empty, but this error say you are sending some data or argument to this function, but here there is no variable available, or I can say there is no parameter available to store this data. So that's what guys the error is saying. So error is saying one argument you pass, but zero positional argument or parameter available here. But I know obviously which is very clearly visible. We haven't passed any data here. It's purely empty. Obviously, guys, if it's purely empty, so there's no meaning why this error come up. Okay. So guys, in the classes world, in the Python, I'm talking only. Okay. The concept I'm going to explain is will apply in all other language also, but in the Python, there's some extra syntax you have to add. And syntax, guys, is something like this. And I can also give you guarantee, guys, none of the Python training explain you this concept. They always say use this, but why we are using the concept that I'm going to explain you, nobody tell you. So this is one great reason for this. So the guys way I explain you this will relate what kind of error this they're talking about. So you know guys, this is the one message diagram we created today. But what I explain you when new person come up, visitor come up, Jack. This Jack we print the form is called instance. We provide, and after Jack filled the form, they again handed over this form to our admin, and admin guys store this form in one of the folder, one of the space, and they give you one separate space for the Jack. They give one separate space for the Chris and for this object. Why they create? Just to manage the thing, and why they create to manage plus security also and isolation also. Okay, but guys, this space, what I'm talking about right now, this space is somewhere on the top of your RAM or the memory. So let's say this is the one of the space or box for the Jack. This is one of the space and box for the Chris. So 100 objects you have, 100 persons you have, 100 boxes you create in the memory. And what this box contain? This box contain only the information about the Jack. This box contain only the information about the Chris. So I can say this is the object for the Jack, and this is the object for the Chris, or this is the place and space for the Chris on the top of memory, on the top of RAM. But in the future, after you create this box, in the future if you want to go to this box, okay, and want to retrieve some information about the Jack, how we can retrieve? For example, right now my function is retrieving the information about the Eric. See here. Okay. So how they can retrieve? So technically, normally if you want to retrieve some information, or maybe you want to store some information, right? In any of the cases, this is called, if you want to create any method. So what we have to do, okay, right now, my Python program know where this box created on the top of RAM. They know. How they know? They store this information in a object or variable called Jack. So guys, if you see here, they store this information in the array. So what is this array? Is this array is just a if you just type array, it's just a variable name. It's just a variable name. And this variable no, it is like a virtual address, but you can think it is one of the address in the memory. Or Eric say I am just a hard copy form or object of this class. For whatever information I will store or I will have, I have stored in this address. my information there. Okay. So in the future, if some function, for example, this function want to retrieve anything, any variable from my box, they should know my address of the RAM. That is the reason. If any function you are calling, okay, with under me, see a Eric dot, this one. It means what it look like. It look like this is a function of a method, and I want my method will go to Eric space on the RAM, so that they can do something. Maybe they might not do, but technically the meaning of this line is this one. So this is the by default behavior of this syntax. Dot means after the object, if you call any method. So by default, if you type something data here or you don't type data here, okay, by default, internally, Eric is sending their information of the space of the RAM. Okay, so internally here they are sending the address of memory where Eric store their information. Okay, or because they are sending some information not visible behind the scene, they're sending. It's been this is the way Python program. That is the reason, guys, this error come up. They say you are sending one information, but I need some variable here to handle. So technically, when Eric is sending some information address, okay, so they go as a argument. So we need one parameter here. Okay, so that is what, guys, this errors come out. So technically, in the simple term, whenever you call any method from this class, and this is the object of this class, so they always pass that. And guys, it's but obvious, right? If they don't pass the address and they don't store the address in one variable, so without going to this variable, how they retrieve their mobile number? Okay, so that is the reason, guys, this error come up. Okay, and even though if you want to check also, let me print the value of x also, so that we can see what output they're passing. You can, guys, type any variable name, it will be your choice. Okay, so let me again run this code. Sorry, run this code, and now new error come up, and this error is very important to understand. Now they say phone is not defined. Phone is not defined. Okay, and it is very clear that phone variable is already there. But they say phone is not defined. Okay, why this error come up? So guys, understand this thing is very interesting concept. Okay, so why this error come up? Okay, so this error is come up because of one very interesting reason. One minute. The error come up because I told you, whenever you create Eric object of this new person come up, we provide one extra hard copy form, or technically on the top of my RAM, this is my entire memory or the RAM, we provide extra space, independent isolated space to get this guy. Okay, and where this space located, I already show you. You can ask the Eric where you are located. They say I am somewhere here on memory. Okay, and in this space, now we have to tell Eric that you have to put all your information here. Your name, your phone number, everything you have to put here in your space. Okay, so it means if we use any method in the future, or I can say any function in the future, okay, to this function method, we will provide you this. For example, the address is 1234. So this is the address of the of the memory. Okay, so if any method or function I'm gonna use for the array, So this method will provide only this address, this address of the array. And how we are providing? This is a by default behavior of the Python. They will behind this instant, but we have to store somewhere. Even though if you just want to check very quickly, let me comment this line. So at least you can see they are passing some address. Okay, maybe a little bit different here, but you can see initially 61 A B something. Because of Python has its own virtual machine, so the address might be different. Might be different means this is a different thing as a different function, but this address of the object is the of the class object. What I mean by this, we'll discuss. But technically, X is having some information. So X has some information. Okay. Now, point here is we use this function. So this function will go inside your box because we are giving this information here. Let's say we're giving the information in X variable. Okay. And after they go here, from your box, we can retrieve your name. From a box, we can retrieve your mobile number. Maybe I have one more box in the RAM, but this box will have a different address. But this box, let's say we create for Jack. So whenever guys we create a Jack, Jack will have again separate object or separate box on the RAM. So in this box, Jack has their name, their phone number. This is guys the way I explain. So guys, think RAM is one folder, one database of the company, and in this box, we store first hard copy form of the Eric, second hard copy form of Jack, and every form has their own respective information of that respective object, something like this. So in the future, if you want to use same function on the Jack, so this function will go to this address and they will retrieve their name. Okay, but right now, who know in the array where is the box of the array? This X variable now. So it means if you want to print or retrieve the phone number, you write x.phone. Means I want to retrieve the phone number of what? Because there is a lot of phone number variable. This also phone variable, this also phone variable. Which one? So you should be very clear. Go to this box and then retrieve the phone number. Okay. So how to tell this? Go to this box because X contains the address, and from this box, what are the phone number they have retrieved and so on. So that was the error come up. Okay. So this error, what the error was? They say phone number is not there because you're not telling where the phone number is. Okay, so they don't know which box to go, so they feel I don't know where the phone number is. Now when I again run this code, sorry. So when again this code, and now this time guys you see there is no error come up. This line print because of I print X, but let me print guys comment this line so we can focus on main code. Now this time there is no error come up. This part printed, but this part is not yet printed. Because obviously we have just given Eric a new form and Eric haven't filled yet. But we ask Eric, do one thing, go to your box, there is one field called name. Okay, and in the name just type one field called phone in this example, and type your mobile number. That's all. So technically what happened, this line means go to Eric form, means go to this box. Inside this box, whatever variable name they have, name, also phone, update this. Update this. So that's what I updated. Now again go back. This function, if I again run, you can see now output come. Output come. Now there is no error come up. Okay. Why? Because somebody, or maybe Eric, or some form, maybe we can guys, in my initial classes Python I show you some of CGI programming, so maybe we can create some STL form or maybe some kind of C-lab programming as an input function. And from those input function you can ask them and they will fill the name, and we can create some function, and from this function they can retrieve, we can retrieve this mobile number. So on, and this mobile number, obviously I don't want to retrieve, but here we can write a code that will send the SMS. Here. And one more thing guys, here, this variable, I explain you what this variable contain. This variable contain the information about Eric, information about Jack. So for the Jack perspective, Jack information store here. For Eric perspective, Eric information store here. So Eric say myself information store here. And this is my address. And that is the reason guys, it is very common trend in the Python. It's not compulsory, I show you, but it's very common trend in the Python. Or everyone in the Python world, they never used a variable called X or Y. They use a variable name called self. So this variable name, they always use self. Okay. So it's not compulsory. I explained because I use X also. Okay. But it's very common trend in the Python world. So whenever you see classes, every time you will see a variable called self. The output will be same. There's no challenge. So I suggest guys, just keep on using self. It would be better to use self because you can be sync with some real example in the market also. But technically, logically, the meaning of self is just a variable, and what this variable contain, this thing. Okay, and that is the reason guys, whenever you create any function or method, we always write self. Because when you create any function, in function we have to go and retrieve the value or change the value, update the value. Something we have to do on the variables or the attributes. And that time guys, obviously my variable attribute always should know the location. Okay. So that is a reason guys, it's been compulsory in the Python. In the Python, whenever you use any method, you have to use self. Because method we create here for doing something on the data. Okay. And we don't know what is the location of that box or the data on the memory, you can't do. So it is compulsory to use some variable, mostly self we use here. And so whenever I create a call a function or method, they pass. So here Eric pass their information, or maybe same time I say Jack, can you call this function? Right? It fail. It fail because Jack guys, we haven't initiated yet. So what I'm doing here, I again print out one form for the Jack, new form, because something will be changed. Okay, now this time when I run, so there's no info Jack. So, but technically, now we say the same function. Okay, but this function is going to the Eric location. This function is going to Jack location. In Eric location, we have this number. In Jack location, we don't have a number because we haven't saved yet. Okay, save yet. So that's how guys it work. One more last thing I just want to tell you guys here is, okay, if Jack want to store their number, they can also store the way I show you. Jack dot phone equals to, let's say, 2222. So Jack phone number also store also, we can call, and now we can retrieve the Jack phone number or store here. But technically, if you again think logically, I just need guys 5 more minutes. Last one more topic I just want to conclude. That's called constructor. Okay, so technically, the way I explain you, whenever anybody visit your company or your office, they never give you only one form to fill the name and fill the form, or they don't give you puzzle that I'm just giving blank form. Just you think yourself, search yourself what field we are looking for, name, phone number, because we know we are looking for this field. Okay, so here what Jack is doing, they figure out they are looking phone or maybe they figure out they are looking for name. Let's say Jack ABCD E. Okay, so right now if you see, if I have a class or I have a template, I have a form that has 10 variables, so 10 times they have to type like Jack phone, Jack name. Okay, So to make the thing again simpler and very logical, the way we use in the real world, what can we do? We can tell the jack, okay, but always guys, whenever we are printing a form for you or creating instance for you, okay, type your detail here. Okay, tell me your name, tell me your mobile number, tell me your email address. Type all the thing here. Obviously, why we are printing form for Eric, okay, the instance for Eric, so that we can ask Eric your name, your mobile number, your form. This look very logical. Okay, so it is good practice. This also work the way I explained you. There is no error. The thing is working great. A good practice guys, while creating a form or instantiation of your object from the class, you can put the things here. But right now guys, if I run, it give you lots of error. Okay, and very clear, they say this class takes no argument, and we are passing lots of argument here. Even though if you just go and take the help of this class, how you take the help, shift tab in your Jupyter, okay, and if you see detail help, nothing is here, is empty. Okay, so if you see the class signature is purely empty. That doesn't support this. Okay, so what can we do? Right, there's one concept guys in the object oriented in the classes. Whenever you call the class, okay, they have a lot of methods. A method will do something for you, but if you want to use this method, you have to call it manually. Send SMS, or maybe you have to call, like say Jack, I want to get your name. So other method guy you have. So when you're looking for get name, right? 1 minute. Get name. Let me run this. Okay. So there's no name, but let me, if I fill the name of the Jack, and if I run this, it will fill for us. So right now guys, all the method or function you call, whenever you need to get the name, SMS and SMS, you can call and run it. But there's one function or some function in the classes in the Python, okay, they run automatic for you. Okay, it's like an automation kind of thing. It is something like this. What I want, as soon as Jack, we create a form for the Jack, same time we ask the Jack the information, Jack give the information, and we put all the information here, and finally store everything on the RAM. Right? We don't have to manually type in this way. So I want some function that will give me a facility, okay, that form print done, this information automatically stored on the respective variables, and that's all. Everything to be done automatic. And for this guys, we need some functionality, we need some function. And I want this function automatically run for us. I don't have to call the function, run this function manually. Okay. So guys, all the classes in almost all the languages, they come with a pre-created function. They automatically run for you. Okay. Whenever you call when you create an object, or when you print the hard copy here, we can think in this way. Okay. So this kind of function guys is known as constructor. So constructor is one concept. Technically is one kind of function, or I know you guys know function is called method. So constructor is one kind of method. It's same like this one and this one. Only difference is this guy we have to call whenever we want. But constructor is one function. Okay, they automatically run for you whenever you create a new object from this class, or whenever you create one hard copy print from this copy. And name of this function is a predefined here. This is called __ int __. So this is a fun function in the Python. They will automatically run for you. Just for testing, what I'm doing here, I'm just using print here. Print this is IIC visitor class dot testing. Okay. So just one string I'm printing here. Just want to tell you, whenever you instantiate this class, either you call this, either you call this or you don't call this, okay, it will automatically run for you. And I already explained, guys, whenever you create a function, right, you have to use self or maybe some variable. You can give any name. Okay, now what happened? Let me show you. Now let's say one more person come up. Let's say Pop come up or Tom come up. Okay, and I'll say Top, I would like to print form for you, or I say it's called instantiate. But now you see, guys, what happened? As soon as you instantiate, this output come up. Technically, I just want to prove this function automatically run for you. So if you want, guys, whenever any new person come in your organization, visitor come up, or you want add an automatic SMS send, mail send, so you can put in this function those code, or you put the things in the construct function. But this function has one more great use, right? What the use is, because now this function, if you see the code, okay, when we create a instance, one instance create where on the RAM, and guys, whenever one instance create, we will provide an extra space on the RAM. Let's say Tom is a one instance come up, and let this say space 333. Okay, so Tom know my space on the RAM is 333. Okay, and behind the same, Tom also call this function. And guys, whenever any instance call the function, they store their address in a variable called self or maybe X. So it means self is a one variable. They know the address of the Tom. Okay, but right now what we have in the address of Tom? Nothing. But what can we do? Okay, what can we do? Now we can tell wherever you are, store name variable with some data. Wherever you are, store phone number as the data. Okay, and from where we get the name, we get the name from, let's say, variable called X. From where we get the phone, we get the variable from Y. From Y, from X and Y come up, so they will come from a function argument. So anybody who call this function, they will pass X and Y. This X and Y are stored in name and phone variable. Okay. It means initially my name and phone variable were empty. Okay, but now it will override by this value and this value. But who called this function? This function automatically called. When you create Tom. Now this time what happened? If I run this will fail, because when Tom object create, behind the scene this function run. This function is looking for 3 arguments, so 3 parameter. Okay, and here we only pass 1. Why? Because I told you, right, whenever any object call a function, they always pass their address. So 3 parameter they want, but I only pass 1. That is the reason error come up. 2 is missing. Which one? X and Y. Okay. Now, so what can we do? Right, we can pass this X and Y where? From here. Okay, so let's say X is Tom 123, let's say name, and mobile number is, let's say 343434. Now there is no error come up. Okay, so what actually happened here? Okay, so this is the soft code form. Now we make a form little bit dynamic. Soft code form. So they say whenever any person come up in the company as a visitor, we create hard copy form. Okay, and there this guy pass the name and the phone number. Okay, but I need some function or method who will take this name and phone number and store in the address of the Tom. So this is, let's say, the address of Tom. So they store here name and they store here in the phone. Which address? This address. What is this address? The self address of the Tom. Everybody has their own self address. So I need some function, they automatically do for me. And this function is what? Init function, constructor. Okay, so this this name and this mobile number go in X and Y. X and Y will store in the self, means address of Tom, and and the phone number of the Tom. It means it means if I ask Tom, I want to get your name. So this name function we already have. So if you see, guys, we can get the name. I send Tom, can you send SMS? Don't know what come. So in one single line, you object created plus you store the information in your self address of the Tom or your respective address of the Tom. Okay, so while instantiation, we are passing the information. So we can store here, and so in the future, if you want to change, that is different thing. You can change the way I show you, tom.phone and tom.jack. You can change, but while first time we visit, we provide this information and they store in my respective area. But it's good practice, guys. Right now, for example, if you use this function and take a help, now guys, see here, this class now accept 2 argument. Okay, and that is the reason, guys, it's good practice. Don't use argument like X and Y. Always use a logical name. Let's say this is my name and this is the phone. Okay, and this is the name and this is phone. But this is just a variable like X and Y. Okay, this name is not equal to this name. This name is just a variable stored in somewhere in my other part of the RAM. But this name is stored only in the self part of the Tom. Okay, self part of the Tom. This name is stored in the self part of the Jack. This name is stored in the self part of Eric. Everybody has their own boxes behind the scene to managing the info. So guys, it's so interesting. Everybody has their own boxes, address, and everybody manages their information there. And now if you see the help, now it's very clear this function accept 2 things. And now understand one thing, guys, this is not function, is my class. And guys, that is the reason while calling the class we write this parenthesis. Even though while creating the function class we don't write parentheses, but class is just a way to organize the thing. Okay, organize the thing. But we use while calling because by this we can pass some values here. That is the reason we use the syntax. Okay, and by the way, guys, the variable I use here, I haven't properly explained in detail. It's called class variable. So there's 2 different kind of variable we have, class, and whatever I use here is a instance variable. Okay, so in my next class I will go more deep dive, explain the difference between class and instance variable. Then we'll talk about inheritance, overloading, overriding, and other multiple inheritances. So all advanced concepts we will discuss in my next class. But this concept is a core, not for Python, on all the languages. Again, in language to language, the way we create a constructor syntax might vary, but concept wise is absolutely the same. Okay, so guys, that's all for today. Any query if you have, you can ask me. So what I'm doing, 1 minute please, open my Q&A. So guys, I open my chat box, my Q&A. Any query till now if you have about the concept of classes, instances, and other things, you can ask me. Very important topic, even though normally in the fresher interviews also, this is the very commonly asked question about classes, instances, right? But always keep this diagram in our mind, the real process flow. Okay, you can understand the things. Is object and the instance are same thing? Answer yes. So either you use the word object or you use the word instance, it is the same thing. Okay. Any other queries, guys, if you have? Guys, next class again little bit. So is there in Java? So guys, concept is same. Java also work in the same way. They also create an extra box for you. For every object, they store same thing. Okay, but in the Java, you don't have to use self keyword. So it's language to language. I told you guys syntax vary, but in the Python, you have to use self keyword. Okay, so with this is the main use of self keyword. Okay, so technically, if you create any of the method for your objects and you want to retrieve their values, okay, or store something on their box or their space, we have to use self. So self contain the address of particular object. Okay. So guys, class is a topic, guys, we will discuss a lot. Even though when I go for web technology development framework like Flask, there, guys, also we use there we also use classes a lot. So this concept, guys, keep on coming. Don't worry, you become very much comfortable on it. So don't worry, Vijay, about the constructor. If you're confused, maybe in my next class I will take one more example. You become comfortable. Okay. So that's all, guys, for today. We'll, guys, see you in next class. That's all, guys. Bye. Take care. See you.